Hey everyone, welcome to Pickleball and Beyond. My name's Ryan.
My name is Vino.
And today, Vino, what are we doing today?
So, I'm going to follow a little bit of Stephanie's instructions and do something different. It's 2025. I can't believe it's 2025. And if there's one thing, we have got a ton of paddles. So we thought we'll do this reflection of Ghost of Pickleball Paddles past, present, and future.
Right now, we have over 250 paddles, and I can't thank everyone that's a subscriber to the channel, all of the brands that have collaborated with us to make this happen. I mean, we started this just for the love of the game, and I can't even believe how many paddles we've tested, and it's overwhelming how many amazing paddles are on the market now.
And I think something that we should think about is with all of this new technology, everything changing, has the paddles from the past lost a position in the game? Get what I mean?
Yeah.
And I truly feel, yes, we are evolving, we're getting more pace, we're getting more speed.
Yeah.
But I think there are a couple of paddles out there that, out of everything that we have played,
Yeah.
we might still pick up and play. So I thought, hey, let's just highlight some of these past paddles. I'm going to start off with one of your favorite paddles.
Yes.
It surprised us. Go check out the paddle review. I think it's still true to the day.
Yes.
What would you say a paddle from your past that, still seems very true?
Got it right here. The Ace Spade was the first step-up paddle that I played with, and I fell in love with it so fast. I remember this moment. I hit like 2 drives in a row. I looked at Vino and I'm like, so can I get my own? I fell in love with this because at the time I felt like I was getting so much power for a 16 millimeter, and it's amazing how soft it is for an elongated shape. That's what I liked most about it at the time.
And I'm going to challenge you to another statement. I
Yeah.
would like you to elaborate on that. The very first time when all of these paddles came out, everyone was getting so gritty with the surface
Yes.
to get
I was
spin,
just
right?
about to talk about that.
When we touched this,
Yes.
out of all, we were like, hey, this is a really smooth paddle.
Yes, so everybody, the biggest thing that this paddle taught me is I touched it and we're like, oh, it's smooth, so it's not gonna have any spin. And at the time, we were getting some of the most spin with this paddle, and it still performs at a very high level, not quite like what we see it today in some paddles. But at the time, this was one of our spinniest paddles,
Yes.
and it was just paper smooth.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes. Another one that I want to touch on, and I think I've still seen a lot of people use this paddle.
Yeah.
For me, this holds a sentiment to it because for me, it all started. I won this paddle.
Yep.
I went looking for this paddle.
The original Diadem Warrior Edge.
And right now, they're going around the 100 mark.
Yeah.
And if you say, hey, I want a paddle for $100, I'd say, and I want my first paddle or my first even upgrade, I still think this is a really nice paddle.
Yep.
After that, they have come up with quite a few paddles, that some iterations, even the Warrior Edge, the next one, right? I still would take this.
Yep.
So I still feel there are paddles out there that are really true to,
Yeah.
playability.
Yeah, the last thing I'll add is a lot of these Gen 1 paddles we're touching on, a lot of them, again, they kind of have a little less power to it, but it kind of makes it almost more forgiving if you're trying to learn those third shot drops, which is the hardest shot to master. And I think most people would have better percentages with these paddles instead of a lot of the new paddles that are coming out. So they still certainly have a spot in the game.
I'm going to grab one more paddle that was very highly talked about last year, right?
We loved it too.
Yes.
This.
So this is closer to Gen 2. It got it's thermoformed, and you got all of this. I think they innovated their market.
Yes,
Get what I mean?
double black diamond
the double
from
black
6-0.
diamond. In the past, it was a great paddle. Do you still feel it's got a place right now?
Yeah, I still think I still personally think the double black diamond is at
Yes.
it's still towards that top level. I think now they made paddles that have, again, more power than it certainly, but that mix, it kind of reminds me in a way of how we talk about all the praise the J2 has been getting,
yes.
where it's this all-around paddle that's still phenomenal at everything. And I still think this double black diamond is at the top of my list, even with all the paddles out today.
Some of the brands that kind of follow that stand out.
Yep.
One of the co-founders of them, she made a few paddles that I would kind of a step up to those, get what I mean? They still kind of kept that as an example.
Yeah.
It set a standard. So
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth mentioning as one of those paddles.
Still
in the past
phenomenal.
that's still phenomenal. Okay, great with the past. Let's go to the present.
Yes.
If you were to pick one or two paddles in the present, and I know you're already looking at it, what would be the it paddle right now?
Yes.
Go for it.
I'm going for it. I still prefer the J2K Pro over the J2K, but I think both of those paddles are just so phenomenal for me. There's a couple harder hitters and the TI. All of the whole J2 lineup from day one since we got our hands on these. I mean, I said it before any other reviewer said it. I hit it and I'm like, this is the paddle I want to play with.
Yeah.
Unbiased to what everybody else had said, right away I knew these J2s were something special.
And you're still using it.
And I'm still using it. I was playing with it before any reviews were out, before it was released. I just love the paddle.
I think pretty much all the reviewers for 2024,
this
was on their list. So out of all of this, if we were to pick one that was the best all around for 2024, I mean, I'm kind of a little bit divided between the Pulse S and the J2K. What are your thoughts, Ryan?
Again, out of that whole stack, I'd put it between the J2K series and the Pulse S for which one's the winner. The Pulse S might just slightly nudge it out, but both, you can't go wrong with either.
And I mean, everyone's literally kind of given this almost to be the paddle of the year for 2024. And you had the rubies and everything with that. So, I mean, I think we have a kind of a fair winner there. I still think the J2 as the original for the price point is one of the best rounded paddles that you can get as far as the value proposition. There are others there that are contenders, and we'll touch on that. But I think you're absolutely right, right? I think Honolulu came into the scenes. They've come up with a ton of paddles. I mean, we'll count at the end of this video the number they have, and the future also looking bright with them. But they have come up with some great paddles, and they hit the mark, right? They took a shape, they took what worked.
And they're reasonably priced too, as well.
I think that's
top of the line paddles.
Exactly. They haven't skirted out on quality at all, and their prices are just correct. Any other paddles like within this space? I think one that I do want to touch. This came at the very end. Are the Pickleball Apes paddles, right? So this is Gen 3 paddles. You know, they're competing with the EULAs and stuff like that. We are going to do a follow-up review on how these have been playing. You want to talk about how they were just off the box?
Yes. Again. Beautiful. Got to start with that every time. They look so fun, but I mean, Gen 3, right? It's all about power, and boy, is that what shines in these. But it still retains a good amount of control. It's still, with all these Gen 3 paddles, I kind of touched on it earlier with paddles of the past. It's a little tougher with these Gen 3 ones to control it, but if you're a good player that can still utilize that control, and these especially contain more than I would have expected, I mean, they just launch the ball. It's just so hot.
And I have been playing a little bit more with this. I want you to specifically try, especially I feel the S has been really softening up. Talking about power, I do want to mention 2024 Ryok Hurricane. I still think in our collection, this is the hardest hitting paddle. I mean, it hits like a rocket. It's a 10 plus in the power. So that's definitely something to talk, because I mean, they did come up with like a cheaper version. I wouldn't say cheaper version, but an entry level, which we found is one of the most softest paddles, right? It's one thing to come up with a really hard hitting paddle, but if you can counter and take, so this is definitely one to check out for 2024. Anything else you want to touch on 2024?
Yes, I wanted to give a shout out to is, I mean, Bread and Butter. I mean, they're really starting to come on the scene. Everybody knows about Bread and Butter now at this point, and just every paddle is such a fun design, and they just haven't, there's just no flops to speak of, right? Just fun branding, and they're making really good paddles that they're just selling out everywhere. So.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, they started off with just fun brands, nice, colorful. They kept on coming up with paddles that kept up to the standard, but still did not lose the fun. So, I mean, lots of people are raving about the Invader. We tested it out. We really loved it. The Fat Boy, extremely unique,
and
right?
the Shogun hitting the titanium rush. I mean, really early on. So, still speaking in the present market we have today, the number one value option that we still will stand by today is Hudef, right? Everything from the Mage to the Viva Pro line, right? Starting from Gen 1 onwards, all are great options. I mean, they're just such nice paddles for the price especially. So let's jump into some of our favorite value proposition paddles. Lots of great options out there. First paddle we got on top is this Hudef Mage Pro. Not the first time it's mentioned in the video.
I mean, $99. With the code, it comes down to around just flat 90. Get what I mean? Or even less. I mean, serious good value for what you get. Great spin.
Like, this is a great all-around paddle.
Yes, and like if you're jumping on and you don't want to break the bank, I mean, for that, it comes with a case as well. I think you get good paddle value for that price point.
Yes. And then we have the Empire by A11N, right? You already touched on this in the control, gave some of the specs on it. Just again, another just awesome if you're looking for an edgeless paddle as well. And then we have, we can't say enough about this C7 carry. I know personally my buddy Brady plays with this. Shout out Brady. This paddle, this came out a while ago, but it's still, to get a carbon fiber paddle at the prices they're giving.
Under $70? I mean, come on,
Under
Ryan.
70 with super good touch. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, this is, I would say, like a really value paddle. You want to spend only around 60, 70, I wouldn't look further. You're really getting good.
Hard to beat.
And then finally, I mean, we have mentioned this repeatedly. It's always there right now for $99.
The original J2.
The original J2, 16 millimeter. I mean, if you want just a great all-around paddle, not to break the bug, I mean, I don't think you look further.
And then we also have the Hudef Apex Pro, in particular the 14 millimeter, right? It retained almost all of the control of the 16, but it became so much more maneuverable, which also led to more power.
Again, the price, right? Unbelievable price. Good. I have to say, the very first time I heard about them and they reached out, they're like, I didn't know their brand. There were a couple of people that had a few paddles. We're like, who are these? I mean, they compared to your bread and butter, right? That does a phenomenal job at marketing. Hudef really didn't have too much of marketing. But you get these paddles and value proposition, unbelievable. Like especially the Mage Pro, right? When it just came out, $99 with code, you can get it for about 85 something.
And it comes with awesome cases as well.
It comes with everything, right? So another great brand as far as value proposition go. You get a good paddle, you have it. Moving on to the future. So we've already started this year with quite a lot of controversy about different paddles. July 1st, there are some paddles that, they're banning from tournaments and stuff like that. Paddles are becoming harder to hit. The new one is like, how much it bouncing back out, right? So that's the new test. But we've got a whole bunch that seem to be very interesting that we can't wait to test. Some are actually our favorite brand, Honolulu. I can't wait to try this one. What are your thoughts, Ryan?
The J4, right? And they're doing it in all of their different, like I have the KC, K Pro. I mean, just so many different varieties of it. But this shape, how unique is that? I mean, you're playing with a square basically. This thing's made to take a pizza out of an oven. But I was surprised like how maneuverable it is, but it's just so different. And the sweet spot is just going to have to be incredible. I mean, it's almost a square, this thing. It just...
and the reason I kind of pulled that out of the pack was there seems to be a little bit change of trend, right? You had lots of people wanting the more powerful paddle. But this wide body is back in style almost, right?
This is like the triple XL wide body.
But you're absolutely right. When I just swung it in my hand, it just felt, hey, that's surprising. So I think we have a lot to look forward in 2025. A whole new shape, whole new technology. I know the Pulse is coming up with an X. I can't wait to try that. This is another brand that we have their ball machine as well. Picklin for good, the Zenith. This is the Electro. The Electro also there is the Gen 3 paddle. We're going to try those as well. So I like that they're on the cheaper side, but delivering that same technology. So we have enjoyed bringing and talking about paddles. We've enjoyed highlighting smaller brands. So again, thank you so much. We're looking forward to 2025. We love hearing from you. We like to put more content, so we love to hear what else you would like to see. Please subscribe, please comment.
And we hope to see you in our future paddle reviews.